Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu Nishmas Imi Mirosi Rusbas Mordechai. So, day 2 in the French Alps, and a lot of technical difficulties. Yesterday, it seemed like everything was going great. We were recording, we were live on Zoom, on YouTube, but then afterwards, whatever we recorded was very choppy, and part of the shear actually didn't make it into the recording. So therefore, I'm going back a little bit to where it got chopped off. If you already heard the share, you don't need it, just skip forward. We're going to start 6 lines down from Hoysa Achas Mehem. But before I do that, I just want to show you a little bit. People are asking me about the Alps. I want to show you the beauty of Kadosh Baruch Hu's creation. I'm going to take you outside. I didn't go skiing yet today. It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Be'ezer Hashem, I'll get like an hour's worth. But here, let me just take you for a quick tour of the Alps. Here we go. So that green sign right over there is very, very close to our apartment, and that's the ski lift. And here are the amazing Alps. It's the French Alps. So you get a picture. Here's our little apartment. So here I go back inside. Ooh, it would be a good idea to close this door. Sorry. Okay. Now we just have to set up a little bit. Here we go. This goes here. Turn on the light. Okay. And this goes over here. And the etzim. These are Shem. Okay. So, I just want to read a quick email or two. We're going to put it. We have here from Nehemiah Seltzer. He says, I never imagined in my life to be learning Torah on a flight. Flights were for movies, but now they are for growing, and you could see, or maybe you can't see Nehemiah on the screen. Let's see. Here we go. Nehemiah is on the screen. And then we have, the next one is one and only Rabbi Ari ben Shushan, learning Torah, making a Kiddush Hashem at a chasana. Okay, the Parnas HaChodesh for the Koilol is anonymous in zechus of Hil ben Sardina, Rivka Basfega, the Shvizaychot, the Zer Shechayama, Parnas HaChodesh, friends and family, Refuah Shlema, for Yaakov, Yehuda ben Gittel, Parnas HaChodesh, Bresler, Austein, Rosenberg, Schulman, and Tobias families, L'Zechus, Refuah Shlema, for Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Yisroel, Meir, Dovid, ben Yocheved, Druk Shlita, Parnas HaChodesh, by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood New Jersey, because Torah is the best gula. Parnas HaChodesh. Chodesh Nisan is sponsored by Eli. Eli Nishmas Doiv Pinchas ben Moishe Alav Hashalom. Eli Nishmas Ruchama Chaya Fruma Bas Doiv Pinchas Alav Hashalom. And Eli Nishmas Yichiel Shraga ben Avraham Halevi Alav Hashalom. Parnas HaChodesh. Ahron Fraiman. L'schus Parnos and Siyat D'Shmayin K'ntivas Loch Torah be'Eli Yishkoyach. And honestly, success in Parnosa and Ashirus at least 7 figures. Anonymously, Shlema for our Masud ben Sulika. Rabbi Sai, here we go. So we're a little bit of a deficit. Daf Ches Amud Beis all the way in the top. Daf Ches is short. And I do want to tell you this. I was Zoicha here in the French Alps to make one of the, I wouldn't say difficult, but I spent the most time that I've ever spent on any single chart. Over 3 hours on one chart. It's going to be a nice surprise. I've done this chart before in Yevamos, but I wanted to redo it and make it nice, and spent a lot of time on it. We had a lot of Siyat Shema in the middle of the chart. I got new graphics from Yoshi, the artist, without me even asking him. For some reason, he decided to send me some stuff that helped out a lot. So here we go. Says the Heilige Gemara. Ooh, I have to be a little bit over here. Oh, no, over here. Okay, that's better. So, if we look at the chart, we have here, is that the right chart? Yes. What do we have? We have 4 brothers here, and we learned that if one of the brothers was usher to, there's 2 sisters married to 2 brothers, and one of the sisters happens to be an erva to one of the brothers that she fell down to. So in this chart, you see Rachel falls down to Shimon, but Rachel happens to be Shimon's mother-in-law. Rachel was married to Ruvain, Shimon's brother, and when Ruvain dies, she falls down to Shimon. The problem is she cannot fall down to Shimon because she's Shimon's mother-in-law. So since she doesn't fall down to Shimon, and Shimon's other brother, Yehuda, also went bye-bye, so now you have 2 sisters that fall down to one brother, but you don't have 2 sisters that fall down to one brother because one of them doesn't fall because she's a mother-in-law. So now he's left with one woman. Says the Gemara, so then why do you need this following case? Same case, don't get confused. Here we go. It's the same case, just now Levi's also involved in this picture. Levi's mother-in-law is Leah. So now Levi is also to Leah, but mutter to Rachel. Shimon is also to Rachel, who's his mother-in-law, mutter to Leah. It crosses over. One is mutter to the other and also to the other. But why do you need a double case? Can't we figure it out from this case? Just one of them is asur and mutter to the other sister? Hasulamali, hainuhach. It's the same exact case. Mali lechad, mali letrei. What's the difference if one brother's mutter is asur to his mother-in-law, and then you add another brother that's asur to his mother-in-law? It's the same exact case. Tzricha. So the Gemara gives a very simple tzrichusa. I need both cases. So if one brother shows us what's going on here, he is asur to both sisters, so nobody's going to get confused. Everybody realizes, hey, 2 sisters, it's asur to be miyabim when 2 sisters fall to you. Shimon is miyabim one of the sisters. He has a good reason. One of them is his mother-in-law. So there's something that's keeping us in line over here. But when the 2 brothers are marrying 2 sisters, because they're allowed to marry one of the 2 sisters, because each one has a mother-in-law involved, people are going to get confused. They're going to say, wait a minute, you're allowed to marry a sister even though she's one of 2 sisters that fell to you? The opposite, you see that since 2 brothers are allowed to marry 2 sisters, people are going to say, what's going on here? Obviously, both of them are very related to one of them. But in a case when there's only one brother related, not tzricha. Zui shamro. Now we continue on with the Mishnah. This is still stuff that we learned yesterday in the shir, but we're repeating it because it got cut off. Zui shamru. It says, Hasur lezeh, mutaris lezeh, zuhi. This is the case, like this case that you see on the chart. Zuhi, limudei mai. What does it come? Every time it says zu, it's this one, only this one, but not something else. What is it coming to exclude? The Alp water. I have no idea. I don't know if it's filtered, not filtered. That's what we have. Zok the Gemara, limudei isur mitzvah lezeh ve'isur mitzvah lezeh. Instead of this case that we're looking at, that one sister, Rachel, is a mother-in-law to Shimon, the other sister is a mother-in-law to Levi, instead of mother-in-laws, it will just be a derabanan isser, a ervim derabanan. We call it isser mitzvah. But why do you need a second case? We already spoke about a case like that, if one of them is an isser mitzvah. So again, the same question like we had before, and a similar answer like we just said. Mali lechad, mali trei. Why do I have to double up the case? That both brothers are related to both sisters, and each one with an isser mitzvah. When do I say that the isser mitzvah is not enough to knock out one sister? Both sisters fall to you. You can't be miyavim either one. She's asur to you, but it's only isser d'rabbanan. But when do I say that? Maybe I would say that maybe because people are going to get confused and they're going to say, wait a minute, there's another brother, he might do it. But when there's 2 brothers involved, we're not concerned that he'll by mistake be miyabim. So just let it happen. Let's say that they didn't both fall down to the brothers. Lema, both brothers should be able to do yibum. That even in the case of mitzvah and it's with two brothers, they shouldn't be miyabim. Amar Rav Yehuda. So this is a sugya that we've done on Daf Tes, word for word. But we're going to elaborate a little bit more. We're going to push the case a little bit. You probably recall Meis Noilad Yibem, or Meis Yibem Noilad. Okay. That was on Daf Tes, where we had the longest Rashi in Shas. What's going on here? Omar Rav Yehuda Marav. V'chein tani Reb Chia b'kulan ani koire behem asur lezeh muteres lezeh. V'achoisa, and I'll explain in a second, kishi yevimta oicher letzis amis Yevamos. All 15 cases of the first Mishnah in Yevamos. The Mishnah brings 15 cases of erva, that if one of the women that falls down to you, you're Yavam, you're ready to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Yibam, a brother died without children, you're permitted or you should marry his wife. But what if one of the wives that fell to you, Yibam, your brother who's Nifter, had two wives? One of them happens to be your daughter. Your brother married his niece, your daughter. One of them is your daughter. So because you cannot be miyabim your own daughter, you can't be miyabim the second one also, the tzara. But now the Gemara says, chap, why not? Let's make this Masechta interesting. Let's make it gishmak. Some people sit back and they say, it's so, wow, it's too much. I don't know what to do. They're doing this to develop our seichel, our Torah ability. And that is, we're going to say, let's take all 15 cases and make them in a way that there are two sisters involved in every single case. Every case has two sisters. To the point where one sister is related to one brother and the other sister is related to another brother, but not related to both brothers. And therefore, since one sister is related to one brother, he cannot be miyabim her, but he could be miyabim the other wife. And when you look at the other brother, since he's only related to the second sister, he cannot be miyabim that second sister, but he could be miyabim the first sister. Amazing to go through all 15 cases and figure this out. We're not going to go through all 15. We're going to go through two cases only, which we did on Daf Tes. Rabbi Yehuda metargem mechamoise ve'elech. And Rabbi Yehuda is saying that it's only from 6 cases in, from a mother-in-law in. I don't want to discuss 2 sisters in the first cases. Why? My time. Let's go to the videotape. Here we go. Check this unbelievable case out. This is chart number 3. For Yosef Bilyak, he asked me to number the chart. So on top, there's a number. So make it easier. Chart number 3. That 2 does not belong there. Okay. What you see over here is, there are actually 4 brothers in this case. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda. And there are 2 sisters in this case, Rachel and Leah. But if you notice, Rachel and Leah don't share the same father. They share the same mother. Reuven had a daughter named Rachel with Bat Ayin woman. And so did Shimon have a daughter with Bat Ayin woman. Rachel and Leah are sisters. Levi, listen to this unbelievable case. Levi goes ahead and marries one of the sisters named Rachel. Yehuda goes ahead and marries the other sister named Leah. And both Levi and Yehuda go bye-bye. What happens to these women? They fall Yibam to the brothers of the ones that died. Who are their brothers? Their own father. So Rachel and Leah fall to Yibam to Reuven and to Shimon, but not to both. Rachel cannot fall to Reuven because Rachel is Reuven's daughter. So it comes out that Reuven could be miyabim Rachel's sister named Leah. Shimon, on the other hand, his own daughter is named Leah. She cannot fall to him because it's his daughter. But the other one, Rachel, does fall to him. So asur lezeh. Shimon, who's usher to his own daughter Leah, muteres lezeh, is mutter to the other sister. And when you look at Reuven, it's the reverse. He cannot be miyabim his own daughter, asura lezeh, but he could be miyabim. Let's see if I can get a laser beam over here. It's going to be tough. I can't get a laser. Maybe, Gary, you think you can get me a laser? I don't know if you could hear me. Okay. Really wish I had a laser, but I don't want to mess this up. Oh? No. Okay, let's just leave it the way it is. It gets a little bit more complicated in the next charts. I don't know if you could see my. Let me see if I could see my mouse. I don't know. I can't see it on the screen here. Okay. Oh, so let's go back to this case. So what's wrong with this case? The only way Reuven and Shimon can have a daughter each from this woman called Batayim is if they were Oiber Isser, if they violated the Batayim woman. Because once Reuven has a daughter with Batayim, then Shimon can no longer marry Batayim. That's Eishes Ach, the famous Eishes Ach that this whole Masech is talking about. And Shimon can never, there's no Yibum here because Reuven already has a daughter. So this woman, Batayim, will forever be Asr to Shimon. The only way this case works is if Reuven violated Batayim and he had a daughter. Since it was through violation and not through Kiddushin, and Mela Einsim it's called, and Mela Shimon could marry her. There's no Isser for Shimon or to violate her. Great. Not that he could, but he did. So that's the discussion here. Are those cases we want to be discussing in our Mishnah, cases of violation? Says the Gemara, my time akiv and the B'Einsim with the Mishkachasla. B'Nesun lo Mishkachasla. Since this whole case is a very sad case of somebody being over Isser and violating Batayin, B'Nesun can marry, B'Einsim like him marry. I don't want to talk about a case of such fashion. Abai says, no, I could say all 15 cases of the Mishnah, since it's possible, I don't care exactly over is or not. We're talking about a riddle now. We're talking about how is it possible to fit two sisters in every single case of the Mishnah. I don't care if it's done by This is the case where Boy said that I worked on for 3.5 hours. Not that bad. It was just, I wanted it to be perfect. So again, the Torah tells us that if a brother dies without children, the surviving brother should perform Yibum or Chalitza. But that's if the brother was surviving and he was there at the time of the death of his brother. But if he wasn't alive yet, he was only born afterwards, he cannot perform Yibum. He wasn't in this world. But there's a big machlokes, as we discussed many times in this Masechta. What if he was born after his brother died, but before his second brother took the first brother's wife, B'Yibum? So Reuven dies, he leaves a wife, comes Levi, let's say, and it's Miyabim Reuven's wife. But before he was Miyabim Reuven's wife, the little guy, Yisachar, was born. He was in the world when his brother Levi married this woman Rachel. You're right, he wasn't in the world when Reuven died. So that's the machlokes. Reb Shimon holds that's okay. So this case only works according to Reb Shimon, and therefore I don't want it in the Mishnah, says the Gemara, that what? As we're going to explain. It only works according to Reb Shimon. But according to Rabbanon, they argue with Reb Shimon, they say that's considered a Ishazach Shalei Ba'Lamai. But I don't want to get involved in a machlokes. Rav Safar says it works even Ishazach Shalei Ba'Lamai. This is possible with 6 brothers, 6 Baldwin brothers. How do you remember? Meis noilad v'yibem, Meis noilad v'yibem. Let's go to the chart. This is the original chart from Daf Tes. I wanted to do it a little clearer and a little nicer. I believe this new chart is a lot better. Over here you see it says Meis Noel Yibem, it's 1, 2, 3, but it doesn't say 4, 5, 6. It doesn't show that Reuven was married, it just showed that Reuven is dead. Yisachar, okay, now let's go to the new chart. The 3.5 hour chart in the French Alps. Ladies and gentlemen, here you go. Okay, what we have here in this chart are 6 brothers. Reuven, Shimon, who's under number 4, Levi, that's by 3, Yehuda, that's by 6, and we have the 2 little guys, Yisachar and Zvulun. They're all brothers. 2 of the brothers married 2 sisters, Rachel and Leah. Reuven and Shimon married Rachel and Leah. Now look what happens. Step 1 is Meis. Reuven goes bye-bye. So his wife Rachel falls to Yibum to Levi. But before Levi was miyabim Rachel, step 2 is Noilad, little Yisachar guy, also a Baldman brother, was born. Could Yisachar be miyabim Rachel? Absolutely not. Everybody agrees that in this case not. He's loyhaya ba'olama. He wasn't in this world when his brother Reuven died. Step 3 is that Levi went ahead and was miyabim Rachel. He was around, he could. Levi happens to be married to another woman called 5 Towns. Step 4. Shimon, who's married to Leah, he goes bye-bye. Could Yisachar be miyabim Leah? That's the machlokes Reb Shimon and Rabbanan. Well, sorry, not true. I take that back. In this case, Yisachar could 100% be miyabim Leah because he was alive when his brother Shimon was married to Leah. That's not a shaila. Everybody agrees to that. Yisachar could marry Leah. But what happened was that after Leah fell to Yibum to Levi and Yisachar, a new brother was born. His name is Zvulun. Hasidish little kid, Zvulun. That's step 5. This is chart 5, by the way. Then goes Yehuda. As miyabim Leah, the Gemara is going to ask why we have to come onto this. If we stop right here before Yehuda was miyabim, we get the whole picture, we get the whole case. Why? Check this out. Zvulun, he could be miyabim Rachel. Why? Because when he came into the world, Levi was already married to Rachel. He's not Reuven's. She's not Reuven's wife. She's Levi's wife. That's according to Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says, since Zvulun comes into this world, finding Rachel married to Levi, he doesn't care about the history that once upon a time she was married to Reuven and Reuven died, and that's considered loyhaya ba'olama. You weren't in the world together with your brother Reuven. No, when you were born, you found a perfect marriage between Levi and Rachel, and that's enough. So if that's the case, if you hold like Reb Shimon, but Rabbanan argue, they say not. So this case doesn't work according to Rabbanan. But according to Reb Shimon, look what goes on here. It comes out that Yisachar could marry Leah because Yisachar was alive when Shimon was still married to Leah. That's the little guy. But Zvulun, the little Zvulun guy, cannot marry Leah because he was born when Shimon died and wasn't married to Leah. But the flip side is that Zvulun could marry Rachel because when he came into the world, Rachel was already married to Levi. And Yisachar cannot marry Rachel. So you have 2 brothers, one can marry one sister, but can't marry the other sister. And the other brother, the opposite, can marry the other sister that the other one can't marry, and he cannot marry the one that he could marry. So that's Sulazeh. But the case continues. This happens to be the longest case in our Masechta. 8 Baldman brothers. We're getting there. So let's see inside. Reuven and Shimon, it happens to be lined up with the names that we call them also. Reuven and Shimon. Right over here you see the 2 brothers are married to 2 sisters. Levi, Yehuda, Nesun Shnei. And Levi and Yehuda are married to 2 strangers. Levi in our case is married to 5 towns. Yehuda is married to Batayin. Mace Ruvain dies. Noilad Yisachar, the little guy is born. And then step 3 is V'ibim Levi. And then Levi takes Rachel as a Yevama. Step 4, Mace Shimon. Shimon goes bye-bye, Noilad Zvulun. And step 5 is that little Hasidic kid is born. V'ibim Yehuda. And as the Gemara is going to explain why it says V'ibim Yehuda, it's not important to this case, L'chayra. Mesu Levi v'Yehuda b'lei banim. Now, Levi and Yehuda die without children. V'naflu kamei Yisachar u'Zvulun, and their wives Bat Ayin and 5 towns fall liibum. To Yisachar and Zvulun, hasru lezeh, muteres lezeh, v'asru lezeh, muteres lezeh. And now, because you see the green arrow going from Rachel to Levi and from Leah to Yehuda, so now they become tsaras. Leah becomes a tsara with Batayin, and Rachel becomes a tsara to 5 towns. Because Yisachar cannot marry Rachel, so you can never marry Levi's wife 5 towns. Because now Levi is married to the tsara of 5 towns. Because Yisachar can't marry Leah, and Leah was taken as a co-wife to Batayin by Yehuda, so now Bat Ayin can never be married to Zvulun either. So the case continues. Not only can one brother not marry one sister, but he can't marry the tzara to that sister. In this case, Leah is the tzara with Bat Ayin, and Rachel is the tzara with 5 towns. Says the Gemara, but the case continues. I just show over here a red line that Leah is a tzara to Batayin. Oops. Jumped the gun for a second. Says Gemara, Lamali Yibem Yehuda. Why can't we just stop the case at step number 5? And that's enough to tell us that Zvulun cannot marry Leah, but he could marry Rachel. Why do I have to say that Yehuda went on and was miyabim? Says Gemara, Tenach Tzara. Tzara, the Tzara ma'ikil me'emar. But we want to continue the case. We want 8 Baldwin brothers. We want a co-wife of a co-wife, a Tzara of a Tzara. Let's check it out. So I didn't know what to do. I only have 6 Baldwin brothers, so I decided I doubled up. Actually, we have a 7th. We have the Shimon's twin. And all of a sudden, Yoshi, the artist, thank you, Yoshi, sent me this amazing Baldwin brother. Why does he look so familiar? Because this Rosh Yeshiva happens to be this guy's twin brother. We'll call him God, G as in God, as the Gemara calls him. So God went and was miyabim, and we have one more character for today. Mazal's twin. We'll call her B. What's B? I don't know. So here we go. Here's the case, Rabbi Isai, the final case. We have another brother called Usher. He has a D on his thing, but it's a mistake. Usher is another Baldwin brother, and Gad is another Baldwin brother. And the Baldwin brothers, the final Baldwin brothers, they were miyabim. The Rosh Yeshiva was miyabim, the 5-town woman. The guy in the green suit, Usher, was miyabim, the Batayin woman. But each one already has another wife. The Rosh Yeshiva has Mazal's twin, and Usher, the guy in the green suit, has Mazal, which they are sisters. You see what's going on here? We're continuing this case of sisters. And because the sister, which with the B, is a tsaras tsara. She is the tsara of the 5-town woman. And the 5-town is the tsara of Rachel. And Rachel is usher to Yisachar. So Yisachar is usher to Mazal's twin sister B. But Yisachar is mutter to Mazal. And the reverse is Zvulun, who's also to Mazal. Why is he also to Mazal? Because Mazal is a tsaras tsara. She's the tsara to Batayin, who's the tsara of Leah. She's a double co-wife, a co-wife once removed, the co-wife of a co-wife, I should say. She's the Mazal is the co-wife of Batayin, who was the co-wife of Leah. So Zvulun is also to Leah, so therefore he's also the co-wife of Leah, who is Mazal herself. But he's mutter to Mazal's twin sister, B. And that's the end of the 3.5 hour chart. Nami God ve'asher. Says the official Mishnah. Let's see if I have it here somewhere. Not really. Let's see. No. Oh yeah, it's sponsored by the Tehillim group. 8-minute. Here we go. Sponsored by the MDY Tehillim group, where we daven for Refuah Yeshua Shidduchim for Klal Yisrael and for the MDY and for our MDY family. Join us at tehillim.8mindav.com. Okay, Rabbi Isai, here we go. Shloisha Achim. Shnayim behem nesum shtei achayos. Here we go to the chart. We have 3 brothers. 2 out of the 3 brothers are married to 2 sisters. We had this case. We're very, very familiar with this case. And we're going to be discussing variations of this case for a bit. If they're not sisters, Rachel and Leah, then they are a mother and daughter, or Isha Bita, or Isha Bas Bita, or a mother and a granddaughter, or Isha, or I should say a grandmother and a granddaughter, or Isha Bas Bina, again a grandmother and granddaughter, through a son. Since 2 of them fall Yibum to 1 brother, what do we call that? They are Zekukas, Achoy Zekukas, so he cannot be Miyabim, either one of them, Rachel or Leah, because if he's Miyabim Rachel, Rachel is the sister of a Zekuka. Since we're talking about Zika here, they're bond to Shimon. When Reuven and Yehuda go bye-bye, the 2 wives fall to Shimon. So they're both bond to him, so he can't be Miyabim either one. So what do? You give them Chalitza. Reb Shimon Poiter. That's why we have our Mishnah that tells us this massive Chiddush. Reb Shimon says the Zika is so strong that it's as if they're really sisters that are there together to one man, to Shimon, and therefore you don't even give them Chalitza. But if instead of being sisters, they are just Asur with the Isur Erva, they're Arayis Midrabanan, Asur Ba, Umutter Ba'achoisa. So then it would come out that it's Mutter. You're Mutter to the one that Asur Ba, Umutter Ba'achoisa, you're not allowed to be with the one that's Asur to you, but Isur Mitzvah, which is Erva of the Rabbanan. But you mutter in her sister. Isser mitzvah, Isser gdusha, chotzois. Sorry. That's what the case we said. No, we didn't say that. But here's the case. It goes like this. If one of the 2 sisters happens to be your mother-in-law, so she's also to you. So now again, like we discussed before, the same idea over and over. When 2 sisters fall to you, you're not allowed to marry either one of them. But if one of them is usher to you, Isser Erva Dairaisa, so it's as if she never fell to you. So your mutter in her sister 100%. As in this case, you see, Shimon with the green arrow could be Miyabim Leah, because halachically only one of the 2 sisters fell to him Leibel. But what if he's not really usher to her like a mother-in-law? It's a mother-in-law's mother. It's a Isser mitzvah. Then the halacha is it's a mitzvah. It's a kedusha chotzais v'loy b'siyabmais. So then all you do is chalitza and not yibum. Gevaldik says the Gemara. Tanya Reb Shimon Poit b'shnei min chalitza min yibum. So here comes the major chiddush. The Gemara is going to explain the chiddush. It says Shlema v'isha lachoisa lisikach litzror. You shouldn't take 2 women together as tsaras, as wives. So the Gemara, Reb Shimon learns it, B'shash and Nasu Tzara Zu. It's not referring to that you shouldn't marry them, but rather, even in a case when they both fall to you, Liyibum, like right over here, they are both Asur. They're so Asur to you that you don't even have to give them Chalitza. It's as if they never fell to you. So what's amazing is that we have here Zika, two sisters fall to one brother because it's one brother. The Zika is so strong that it's as if he's married to both of them, and you cannot be married to both of them, so they both go out. But if it was two brothers, if two sisters fell to two brothers, that Zika is much weaker, and it doesn't work the same way. You wouldn't be potter without chalitza, you probably would have to give chalitza. If one of them is Israel, Ervo, it says Gemara, isn't that what we just discussed in the other Mishnah? You're right. Reb Shimon Yitzchak. It's only a chiddush according to Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon said two sisters don't do anything. Maybe Reb Shimon would agree that they should do some sort of chalitza, because what if there's somebody watching from the side and he sees two sisters fell yibum, and you say you don't have to go to Bezdin, you don't have to do chalitza, you don't have to do anything. They're potter. I'm going to say, in a regular case of sisters, we should be geyser. We're not geyser for a regular case of sisters. Isser mitzvah. Daf Yomi Amud Aleph on the top. Says the Gemara, if there's two women who fall to you, and one of them is Asur, Be'isr mitzvah, so what's the halacha? You're chaylitz, you do chalitza and not yibum. Ask the Gemara of Reb Shimon, but it's such a strong zika, such a strong connection, that they should be potter completely, without even chalitza. Because at the end of the day, these women are only also to you in the Rabbana. So when they never fell to you, so you shouldn't have to perform chalitza. Says Gemara, Gzer Mishum, Isra Mitzvah da Alma. People are going to be confused between this case and a regular case of Isra Mitzvah. But the second one has no Isra Mitzvah. So why should I be geyser on her? Why should you perform chalitza? Let her just go out. Says Gemara, you're right. You just punish her, so to speak. Make her have chalitza because of the mazel of her sister. Says the Gemara, if one sister is an asur b'isur erva, like we had the case before, let's see if we can find it real quick. There, even in this case. This is a case of isur. Is it not working? I hope it's working. Yeah. This is a case that one sister, Rachel, is asur to one brother, is erva. So he could go green arrow, he could go and bimiyabim, no problem. Why don't we say she be geyser one sister because of the other? Shani erva, the migma gemiri law, inchi b'kol isla. Everybody knows what's going on here. Everybody knows the mother-in-law is Issa the Raisa, and that she doesn't. We understand that that's why she didn't fall to that brother, and that's why Shimon is mutter in her sister Leah. But when it comes to Isurim Derabanan, we're not so familiar. The official Mishnah, sponsored by the MDY Tehillim Group, where we dive for Refuah Yeshuas and Shidduchim for Klal Yisroel and for our MDY family. Join us at 8mindaf.com. Shloisha Achim, next case. Shloisha Achim. Shnayim Nisuim Shtei Achoyos Ve'echad Mufna. So check this out. I think the boys are coming back from skiing, so we'll be able to say hello to them. Yavaldik, wow. It's almost the end of the day. Hopefully I can chaparine. Who knows? If you finish up quick enough. So what do we have here? We have three brothers. Two of them are married to two sisters. And one of them, who's not married, in other words, Shimon, the guy in the middle, he performed a mimer. And he performed a mimer. Mimer means he went and he gave kiddushin to, let's say, Rachel. He did kiddushin. So step one is Ruvain went bye-bye, and Shimon went ahead and did kiddushin to Rachel. Was he allowed to? 100%, because she was the only one available to him. It's not two sisters falling to him. One sister fell to him. And when that one sister was available, he ran ahead. Instead of doing yibum, he did kiddushin. How much power does this kiddushin have? And then the second brother goes bye-bye. Shammai say that the mimer is so powerful, as the Rishonim explained, It's literally as if she's married to him. So even though step 2, another brother went bye-bye and left another sister, it's not as if we have 2 sisters that are connected. Rather, he's married to that one sister and the other one goes out. She just goes out without anything because you cannot be married to 2 women, and he's already married. Shimon is already married to one. We still argue. If he doesn't want to perform yibum, he should give her a get and then chalitza, and the other one b'chalitza. Zui shamru. This is the remark that they said, that even though Shimon is married to Rachel, he must get rid of his wife, and he has to get rid of the other one. Oy lezu and oy lezu. Yotza kirech mikan mikan. He's bald, literally the baldman brother. He's bald from both sides. He can't be miyabim Leah. He can't stay married to Rachel. Bye bye. Zuhi lemute mai. What is it coming to exclude? Lemute hachti Rabbi Yeshua. There's a case of Rabbi Yeshua and Daf Kuftes. Bezer Hashem will get there. The Leah didn't say we don't do like him. Ella ikir Gamliel ikir Eliezer. We'll see then the case, and we go like Rabbi Gamliel and Eliezer. Omer Rabbi Lazar loitema maimer lebishamei koine kinyin gomor. Now, this comes Rabbi Lazar and says you should know that you're right. The maimer is a kinyan, but you should know that's not 100% a kinyan. It's not as if he really married this woman. Yeah, it's real shit. You want to come in here?
You heard Elisa gave birth to a girl?
What?
Yeah.
I can't. I got to learn now. I don't know what you're talking about. My daughter gave birth. Okay, mazel tov, mazel tov. That's it you're supposed to say. That's it? That's it. Hey, come here. Say hello to everybody. Wow. No, this camera. Wow, you're schwitzing away. How was?
It's good.
Yeah? You found your way around?
Yeah.
Without me?
Yep.
Was it better than yesterday?
Probably.
Wow. How far did you have to walk to get here? Same thing as yesterday? You couldn't find your way back all the way to the hotel. Okay, cool. So it's like I told you that you're not going to get lost and everything? Givaldic. Okay. Tell the little guy to come here and say hello to everybody. Oh, Rabbi Lazar, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. What time did the slopes close? 5-ish. Okay, I'll be able to chop it right in an hour and a half. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Lazar, don't think that the Maimer affects Kiddushin completely. That he won't have to perform chalitza just to get like a regular wife. Says Rabbi Lezer, no, what Beishamai meant to say is that, is the front door closed?
No.
I can feel like it's open. The Maimer only affects to push off the other woman, that she's not involved in the case, but it's not 100%. I think we'll see what it means exactly. So if we look at this chart right over here, so you remember this chart, we have 4 brothers in the Mishnah. We had this Daf Chavav. We have 4 brothers. 2 of them, Reuven and Yehuda, were married to 2 sisters, Rachel and Leah. So Beishamai hold that if Shimon and Levi go ahead and are miyabim Rachel and Leah, they shouldn't. But if they did, so we have a machlokes whether they have to take them out or not. They could remain. So you see from here, Yikaimu in l'chatchila loy, that it's only b'diavad. Now ask the Gemara. We just turned to Daf Yomi Amud Beis, sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of Jolly Joe Kraus and family, in honor of Ed Kinsbursky, Brian Kinsbursky, and Ari Miller for learning the Daf. Ask the Gemara an amazing kasha. To perform Maimer is not asur. To perform Yibum is asur. So just to give money to a woman is not a big deal. So according to Beishamai, that if you perform, you give a woman a ring, you give her money, you give her kesef kiddushin, you're kind to her. So that's a great idea. You have 2 sisters who fall yibum. Instead of not being able to marry, yes, one of the brothers should give kiddushin to one. She's kind to her b'maimer. Now she becomes his wife, and the other one gets out of it. and the other brother should do the reverse to the other woman. Have a great way out of this. Says the Gemara. Elamai doicha d'chia gemura. Come here, Yoel. Elamai doicha d'chia gemura. Where is he? Elamai. So what do you want to say? Doicha d'chia gemura. So you're telling me that what? It should push it off completely. Come here, Tzaddik. Come. No, come over here. Stand over here. I want you to be in video for a second. I want to ask you a few questions. Come. Elamai doicha d'chia gemura. How was? Say hello to everybody. This way. Oh. How was?
Good.
Did you fall?
Just a couple times.
Just once?
Just lying. You fell twice in 5 seconds.
Gewaldig. Just once. Okay. Elamai doichet gemura. Ze yasem maimer v'yitcha v'ze yasem maimer v'yitcha. So let them do Meir and push off the other one, and you could be happily married. So we're going to say, so maybe Meir only works in a case where, like we had before, Rachel falls to Shimon, it's mutter for him to marry her, and instead of marrying her, he performs Kiddushin. Okay, so in that case it works. But in our case, you're not allowed to marry them, because you have Zika to 2 women. To 2 sisters. So you want to get out of your problem by creating Meir. That's not going to work. So therefore, Meir, which is performed in a mutter way, like in this case, that would work, but not in this case. Ravashi says it differently. Don't say that Rabbi Shammai meant that the Meir is so powerful, it pushes off the other sister completely, and that her to the point that the tzara wouldn't even require chalitza at all. It's so strong, the Meir. No, the pshat is that it pushes off the other sister, that you could marry one of them, but it leaves a little bit that the other sister that gets pushed off still requires chalitza. And on that Rebavin said, we learned in this case that we're looking on the chart. Sorry. Maybe I should lower this a little bit.
Did you show them your contraption?
No, I didn't show them my
behind the scenes.
No, different time. I showed them the Alps though. Over above it. According to you, that Meir. If you would think that Meir pushes off completely, so you see from here that it doesn't push off completely, because if it did, then each brother has an eitzah. They should just do Meir to one of the women and push off. We're holding Daf Amud Beis. 1/3 down if you want to join. My sons are joining. Beautiful. They're tired from skiing, but they're still learning Torah. This morning, my youngest son, Yoel, who you just saw, first thing, before anything, you didn't eat, he says, I want to watch yesterday's shir. Says Gemara, Katani, but in our Mishnah we learned, it says, it seems like from our Mishnah, when Bishamai say that the other one should just go out, it seems like she should go out without chalitza. What are you telling me that she needs chalitza? Says the Gemara, Ella Yevamos the Chazi lekulu. In our Mishnah, when he could be miyabam, so the Meir is really good. It's very strong. Yevamos the Chazi lekulu Chazi miktsasa. Yevamos the Chazi lekulu. But when you have 2 sisters, we cannot be miyabam, like in this case on the chart, then the Meir doesn't work. So again, the Gemara is making a distinction. Meir will work when it's very powerful, that you could be miyabim the woman, so the Meir works. But if you cannot be miyabim the woman, then the Meir doesn't work. Brand new sugi Rabbi side. It's a great time to join. Boy Rabba, did you take water from the bathroom? No, it was soda. Okay, good. I thought you were trying not to make noise here. I was going to say what a big tzaddik you are, but you got soda. Okay, good. Boy Rabba, I have to say that a big credit to my children. They really didn't want to go skiing by themselves. They never went skiing by themselves on these massive slopes. They were never in this resort, B'chlal. But after some convincing, and they took one for the team, they took one for the shir, so they went skiing by themselves. I'm very proud of them. Boy Rabba, Maimer Levi Shammai. How strong is Maimer, Kiddushin, according to Bishamai? Again, Midiraisa, a brother dies without children, so the other brother takes your leibum. That's how you do it, Midiraisa. But Midirabbanan, if you give money for Kiddushin, it also works. But how strong does it work? According to Bishamai, in the Mishnah, it's very strong, but how strong? So we know in the time of the Gemara, there were two stages to marriage. First would be Erusin, and typically speaking, the husband wouldn't take his wife into his house for months upon months, maybe even a year. And afterwards, you take him into her house, it would be chuppah, and that's Kiddushin. And there's big differences in halacha between Erusin and Kiddushin, as we'll see in a second. Is Maimer as powerful as Nisuin, as complete chuppah and Kiddushin? Or it's like the weaker one called Erusin. Let's go through the halachas here. In order to inherit a woman, Erusin is not enough. If you just ma'aris a woman, you don't get to inherit her. Nisuin, yes. If you're a kohen, you could be metama only to your wife after Nisuin, not after Erusin. If a woman makes a neder, a husband has the right to break the neder only after Nisuin. Says the Gemara, if after Erusin, Reb Chia said that if it's you don't act b'aninos the first day of aninos, you don't namitama v'chein lo yonenes v'lemitamis loy. Rashi explains pshat. If it's on Yontif, she shouldn't come tummy to her chasen arusa mesa in a yarsha. If she dies, you don't inherit mesu goyvik subasa. If he dies, she gets a ksuba. Ava b'maimer mibaya. So you want to say that Maimer is stronger than Erusin? Maimer is only the Rabbanon, and Erusin doesn't even accomplish all this. So you want to say that Maimer does? Maybe the question is, does she require a chuppah or not? After he gives her a ring, do you also have to do chuppah? Or no, he should just be miyab. My nisuna is the pshat that it's like acts like real nisuin, and you don't need to do a chuppah. Or perhaps it's like Erusin, and you have to do a chuppah. Says the Gemara, simple answer, no. Regular yibam requires a chuppah or not? No. You could go ahead and could be miyabim this woman, even bal karchach, forcefully. So just because he gave her some money and a ring, that's why you have to add something else called chuppah? No, be miyabim her, even forcefully maybe. Even forcefully, says Gemara, no, maybe not. Perhaps if you do Maimer Kiddushin, what's going to happen is the Zika, the bond of Yibum, expires. A new thing transpired here. I switched it by me giving her a ring. Now I went from being a Yavam to like a regular husband. Now there's Erusin instead of Yibum. What's halacha? Tashma. So we learned, Shemeres Yavam, if a woman falls Yibum, her husband Rahman dies, now she's waiting to become a Yavama, Ben Yavam Echa Ben Shnei Yavamim, regardless if it's one brother or two brothers that are waiting to be Miyabim, or one of the two. Listen to this. Rebbe Lezer Omer Yafer. If there are two brothers and she made a neder, Yafer, one of the brothers could annul her vow, could be made for her neder. And that we're going to have four pshatim, what Rebbe Lezer meant. But the raya is from Rebbe Lezer. Rebbe Yeshua Omer le'echad v'lo l'shnayim. No, if she fell to one yavam, he acts as a husband and he could annul the vow, he could be made for the neder. Rebbe Kiva Omer lo le'echad v'lo l'shnayim. She's not married to him yet, so even one yavam cannot be made for a neder. V'avinim ba, and the Gemara asks, Vishlam Rebbe Kiva sava in zika afilu l'chad. Rebbe Kiva holds that there's no zika even to one Yavam, so therefore there's no zika, there's no bond, there's no connection, therefore he cannot be made for the neder. And according to Refuah, it makes a lot of sense. There's a very strong connection between one Yavam and the Yevama, but not two Yavam and one Yevama. How does he explain it? Even though he holds there's a very strong bond, but I can understand when there's one husband doing the afara, great, but L'trei amai, don't you require two Yevamim to do it? If both of them are connected to her, both of them should have to annul the neder. How's it enough for one of the Yevamim to be made for the neder? Here you see, the Gemara says, we're talking about one of the two brothers performed Meir, and therefore he has the right to annul her neder, to be made for the neder. And this is our raya. This goes according to Bishamai, the Meir works and it's a complete kinyan. If this Meir is so powerful, we're going back to the question, how much power does Meir have? By giving a Yevama money, Kiddushin, are you like Nisuin or like Erusin? Over here you see it's like Nisuin. Why? If it's Nisuin, it makes sense. That's why you can do a Taras Nadarim. Hafaras Nadarim. Erusin Oisa. But if you say that it acts as Erusin, Heichi Matzi Mefer, how in the world could you do Hafaras Nadarim? If she's a Naira, she's 12 years old, her father and her husband could be Mefer. Or Mefer. Oh. Over there also, you need both the father and the husband. So how could, if she's a Murasa, how could this guy be made for by himself? You're right. You have no proof from here that it creates an Isuin. No, you need a partnership to be made for. But according to Rebbe Lezer, who says Meir, according to Bishamai, is not a complete kinyan. It only pushes off the other sister, the Tzara sister. Amai Mefer b'shutfos. You don't even have erusin. It's nothing. So why do you need you? Says Gemara, when do I say it's so weak that it only pushes off the other woman? To say that you don't need a get, but you do require chalitza. But did I say that he could be mefer? We have a problem. The lashon is one of them, yafer, singular. It doesn't say both husbands, both yivamim have to be mefer. Only one is mefer. They said that she's going to get support, mezainas, from this yavam. Once Bezin Paskin that she is going to be supported financially by this yavam, then all her nidarim that she makes are going to be based on her new husband, the guy that's supporting her. Das. If he doesn't want that nether, she agrees that it's going to go bye-bye. And therefore, he has the right, that one guy has the right to be mefer. Have a wonderful day.